you want to grab his face and take him for a big smooch? Grab that beard? Yeah. So much smooching.
Macaroni check. Hey, welcome back to another video. Today you're on my camera while I show you what a proposal looks like in Elora Mill. Here I'm using for this shoot is an R6, a 50 1.2, and a 85 1.4. The 85 is from Samyang. I don't think they make those anymore because of how litigious Canon can be. And the 50 is a Canon. So yeah, we're here in Elora. This is down near the gorge. It's kind of a riverbed area. You get to by accessing some really slippery steps. And it's a rainy day. So we had 0 tourists to compete with. We had 0 people to have to Photoshop out later. And it was great, you know? A bit overcast, which I love. It allows us to shoot in any direction, get any images we want. Don't have to worry about the sun. It kind of just creates this really beautiful, nice softbox in the sky that allows us to create some really unique and fun images in any direction. So we took advantage. I switched the 50 for an 85 to get a bit more reach. Typically, a lot of people would bring out like a 70 to 200. I don't have one of those right now. I did when I had a Nikon camera system, but I've switched to Canon in 2021. And so I'm just kind of rocking the 85, and I'm loving it, you know? I can zoom with my feet. I don't need to be a wildlife photographer. It's for portraits, baby. It's for people. And yeah, the setup is basically I'm waiting for them to show up. I'm wearing a yellow cap. So Pavel, the gentleman who's proposing to his fiancée, Balnor, can recognize me. And then once they're kind of in place, I make my way over slowly and just photograph the heck out of the experience. I get connected with these couples through the Elora Mill hotel and spa. It's a great relationship we have. We're couples who are planning to propose. We'll reach out to the concierge or the manager of the hotel, Chris in this instance, and then he has a short list of photographers. I'm on the Pearl preferred vendor list at Elora Mill. Don't mean to brag, but it's been great for just developing new leads and like meeting new couples and photographing their wedding days as well as their proposals. So if you can get in with a hotel or a venue that does host people for experiences like this, it's a great way to connect yourself and connect with other couples.
You did great, guys.
This rock in particular is fantastic for wedding parties, portrait sessions, things like that. It's kind of perfectly placed kind of in the middle. You get that nice separation of the background from the bridge in the back, as well as you're kind of in the water, so you're kind of isolated. It makes a really nice portrait spot. It's kind of obvious. And today the river was running really fast, as you can see. I made my way to them to get some close-up shots of them actually on the rock. It just kind of speaks to my philosophy of meet people where they are, I guess, and photograph them how they are. So we start really simple, just have them interact with each other, holding hands, getting nice and close and cuddly, click, 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 take the photo, and then we'll build on that and variate from that. This couple was extremely lovely to work with. They were very playful, which I loved. I love couples who are just kind of open to whatever happens. They understand it's a photo shoot. Let's make the most of it, the time we have together. They're both fully on board, which I thought was amazing, which is great. Sometimes it takes a bit more coaxing from couples to kind of get them to be comfortable in front of the camera. And, you know, it's all types. There's no wrong way to take photos. So we'll build off what you are comfortable with, and we'll make some beautiful images from that. You can look at each other right there if you like. I always like to give feedback whenever I can for couples, letting them know that they're doing a great job. Images are beautiful. I'm really happy. I'll compliment them as much as I can. Maybe less on how the photos look, but compliment them more on like specifics of their outfit. Like, you have great shoes. Oh, I love that dress. People can get behind that. I find that from a psychological standpoint, people are less open to receiving compliments about how they look and more so about what they're wearing or a certain aspect of their hair. Or like, you look really happy today. Like, those are compliments people can connect with more so than like, you look beautiful. Because when you say that to someone, they're like, here's 18 reasons why I don't think I'm beautiful. And that's sad. And that's the society we live in. But if you compliment them on specifics, I feel like people are more open to it and they're more friendly and they're more like happy to receive that compliment. So that's a tip. That's a pro tip for you. I don't have a drink with me today. Usually I have a drink, but I found that my mouth was getting too moist when I was talking. I might grab a drink halfway through this, so if I disappear for a bit, just know I'm getting a Red Bull from the fridge. So yeah, I met them where they were. We took some nice photos close up, and then we did some more extreme wide stuff once they're kind of familiar with me. Instead of shouting, I find it's better just to kind of use my body language to kind of position them how I want them to be. So I'll rotate my body, put my head up, tilt my neck, things like that to try and get them to mirror me. Here I am trying to get him to stick his neck out a little bit less. I guess he's used to kind of coming down to her level, but from a photographic standpoint, you want them to kind of meet each other in the middle, so it doesn't look like he's craning over her. And that's one of those things that people are probably less aware of unless they're being photographed, so feel free to jump in. If it doesn't look natural, make it look natural. I guess that makes sense. Encourage them to be more natural. This is an instance where I wish I had a 35, because that would have been a really beautiful shot had they switched hands. I had a 35 in my bag. I just didn't really feel like shooting on two bodies today. I want to keep it really simple, use one camera body, use one lens as much as I possibly could, with the exception of the 85, which I used for the proposal to get a bit closer without actually being closer. Am I talking too quickly? Probably. I'm going to do my best to slow it down for these, because I find I talk really quickly, and it's one of those things that is probably fine in real life when I'm talking to people to get my message out quicker. But I think for videos like this, I should slow things down. And the same goes for portraits. Portrait sessions, I'm typically moving from place to place pretty quickly. I don't like my couples to think too much about what they're doing. I'd rather just put them in a place, get some photos, have them laughing, get some photos, make sure I got the photos, and then we move on to the next location. The less I can get them thinking about what's actually happening, that they're getting their photos taken, the less insecure they will feel, and the more it feels like a walk than it does a photo session. And that's something I'm working on. I want people to be a bit more intentional, and as much as I love candid stuff, I think this year I'm focusing more on creating scenes as opposed to just like bang, bang, bing, bang, boom, bing, bang, boom, next photo, bing, bang, boom. Like, I should slow things down the same way I should slow down my talking. So stick with me. If you haven't already liked, commented, or subscribed, you should do those things now. I'm on YouTube. I'm a photographer, filmmaker based in Ontario, Canada, and yeah, I'd love to create more stuff like this, connect with more people, create a community, join a community of people who are like-minded, who want to create beautiful images and improve people's lives. So that's what this is all about, is making cool content, showing you how I do what I do, and yeah, connecting with more people, because people are all we got. And dogs. We also have dogs. I have a dog. He's over there somewhere on the couch licking his paws. Jose, don't lick your paws. Leave it. Good boy. I'll bring him in the end so you can see the dog. These caves are great. Again, this is like a naturally, geologically interesting place. Ontario has some surprises that you wouldn't really suspect, and Elora Mill is famous for them. Everything within here is within walking distance of the hotel, so it's just up these stairs down the street from Victoria Park in Elora Mill. And yeah, it's just like it's well-trodden path by tourists, people going on hikes. It's just really easily accessible, which I like. Now, given it's a very rainy day, so we had a little bit of slippage on the rocks. Wearing good shoes is always a plus. I'm rocking New Balance 50. What are these? 598s? I can't see. The tongue's all the way stuck inside. What shoes are these I'm wearing? The ones I wore, basically the ones I wore. They got good treads, so I was fine. I've worn boots. I've worn like Blundstones. I've worn my Chippewas down here, and they have zero tread. They look cool. They look fashionable, but they're not for this kind of experience. So you want to make sure you have good sneakers, whether you're being photographed or photographing yourself, because the last thing you want to do is fall. I fell flat on my face in Iceland shooting a wedding in Pilsnerver Park. It's a national park that sits between the tectonic plates. And it was during the ceremony. It was my dear friends Jen and Dave got married between these tectonic plates in Iceland in this park. And it was raining. It just started raining, not dissimilar from what we have here today on this shoot. And I had the two cameras on straps, so I had two 750s. One was a 35 or 28 mil, and one was a 70-200 kind of on my body here. And I was wearing my Chippewas because they looked cool. And I wanted to look the part. I wanted to look like an adventure photographer and look really, really legit, I guess. And yeah, I slipped on a rock and I fell face first. And my natural instinct wasn't to protect my face or my body. It was I grabbed my cameras and held them up like that so they were out of the way as I fell flat on my chest, and my phone in my pocket really hit the earth really hard, and I had a bruise on my leg for about 3 weeks after that fact. And when I fell, I hit the earth pretty quickly, and luckily it didn't hit like any volcanic rock, which are really sharp and could have really messed me up. But I'm pretty sure I blacked out because I remember being picked up by two friends being like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay. What happened?" I think I blacked out for 5 or 6 seconds there. But the anxiety of not wanting to be airlifted out of Iceland to Canada snapped me out of the idea that I should be unconscious. So yeah, I woke up, had a bruise on my leg, and I found out later from the bride that it was in that moment that she was talking to Dave saying, "It's so incredibly awkward that everyone's paying attention to us and looking at us right now." And as soon as she said that, she looked over and I was on my face on the ground. So I took away some of the attention that she was feeling and brought it to myself. And I think I kind of eased the moment. So maybe that was like cosmic intervention that made me fall and trip and make the experience for that bride a bit better, for Jen a bit better, but I'll never know. Anyway, point is, wear good shoes. Oh, here we are. This is called Lover's Leap. It's inundated with tourists, which is great, which is fine. Public park. It's a place that I'll take most of my couples just because it has really good light. Usually when it's not overcast, you get some really nice sunlight, blue skies, and it's a nice little narrow lookout point. But because there's so many people, so I took them on a walk through this kind of evergreen forest, this mangrove-looking forest, and just photographed them going for a walk in this space here. Typically in the summertime, this looks really, really orange, especially with the cloudless skies and the bright sun. But because we had overcast, didn't wash anyone out with this orange glow that usually exists. And for this instance, I just kind of circled around them 360, getting different angles. And there's some of my favorite photos. I think that's a method I don't do very often, is move with the couple. And it's something I'm going to focus on more this year. Because I like walking. They like walking. So yeah, luckily, after we did those photos, I think people got the hint. And we went down into the point here. Again, this is another instance where I wish I had a 35 millimeter on my camera body. It would have been nice. But the 50 is something I haven't really used in a couple of years. I had the 50 millimeter 1.4 with my Nikon Z2, whatever that was, in 2020. And I sold it to buy into the Canon system, which I'm in love with. And then I bought a 50 this year in 2023, and I'm loving it again. It's just one of my favorite lenses. It's something I purchased when I first got into photography. It was a nifty 50, a 1.8 for the F series, so it could be used on film cameras as well as digital cameras. And yeah, it was one of my most fun, favorite creative lenses, and it's something I'm getting back into. I like the 50 because it's somewhere between 85 and 35. No doy, obviously. But also, it's just, it's good for everything. It's good for portraits, good for landscapes, it's good for details. It's a 1.2, which is super shallow, one of the shallowest lenses I own. So you can really get some really nice separation from the background. Yeah, so I just wanted to try it out. Sometimes limitations are good. Giving yourself one lens causes you to create images you wouldn't ordinarily have done. So when I can, I'll give myself limitations, especially on shoots like this where it's highly experimental. We can get weird with it. We don't have to really have a shot list. We kind of have a shot list in my head that we explore and we work through, and we don't really need to, get too prescriptive with it. They have a hotel room here, obviously, at the Elora Mill. I wanted to get a shot of them in their space with the beautiful background in the back. This chair was kind of in my way. I had Pavel, the gentleman there being photographed, move the bench to the side of the bed. And yeah, I'm just ripping this, making scars, ruining their deposit for this for this space, throwing the chair over here. Because I like the clean, open space. That worked really well. Yeah, great spot. Beautiful hotel. I've stayed here a couple times. One time with Kelly, my gal, and Jose, the dog, and my friends Lindsay and Taylor and their dog. We had a lovely stay in April here in 2023. It was great. They're dog friendly, so if you get the chance, bring your dog to the Elora Mill. They'll treat them right. I love these French doors. I think it's great that they have a little bit of separation here between these suites, between the kind of the resting area of the bathroom and the bedroom. And I want to incorporate some of this foreground element into it, shoot through the glass, let them kind of just hang out, get real smoochy by the window. Little pick me up, little pick 'em. She's great. She's like sticking her feet up. She knows her angles, The younger people I feel like Generation Z and younger millennials really understand their angles thanks to social media and understanding like selfie stuff. So I don't know, just easier. It gets easier as time goes on to pose my couples. It allows me to create suggestions outside of what they would typically do. And again, I wish I had a 35. This shot would have been so cool on a 35 to get that kind of angle. Dang. You know? Live and learn. It's not something I saw until we're looking at this footage now. Even a 16 mil would have been cool. Just to get a really wide angle and get them isolated in the middle. Yeah. Man, what a cool hotel. What else can I talk about here? Should I get a drink? I'll get a drink while you guys watch this.
And then, across the hill, go over the other back one there. Beautiful. No, you're good. You're good, Pavel. Yeah. And look at each other for a few. And one more looking right here at me.
And we're back. So the Elora Mill is at the end of Mill Street in Elora, Ontario. They've kind of taken over this corner of the city or town, I guess, and it's great. They've renovated everything. Nice, cool, light-colored bricks, which they keep washed, it looks like. And it makes a really nice bounce for light. So whenever I can, I'll bring my couples outside, not just in the gorge, but we'll do some stuff in the city proper because it looks like a Hallmark movie wrapped for production and didn't take down any of the set. And that's kind of what you get when you go to Elora, which I love. It's just very cinematic, very beautiful looking. And these umbrellas, you saw they had umbrellas earlier in the shoot. Those were from the Elora Mill. These umbrellas are clear umbrellas. I keep about 5 or 6 on my car at all times for wedding parties in case it rains or we're doing portrait shoots outside. And the advantage of a clear umbrella is that my mouth is salivating because I know I have a drink here. Where was I? The advantage of a clear umbrella, obviously, it lets light in onto people's faces, which is the part that you really want to photograph. Make sure you get correct. You won't get these weird shaded, kind of raccoon eyes. No one looks great when they're in the dark, unless you're going for something really stylistic. But for these, I want to show people's faces, and clear umbrellas help us do that while also staying dry. The one downside about the Elora Mill is that they have kind of valeted parking, where if this gate that they close, and it can sometimes block traffic up all the way down the street. So I want to get a nice shot of them in front of the hotel on this main street. We have separation between them and the hotel. Because we had a line of cars, I thought I'll just utilize this time, get some nice photos of them against this wall, which is actually the reception area for weddings that happen in Elora. Everything's so close, which is great. We'll go to the ceremony space across the bridge in a few. And yeah, everything's just walking distance, which I love. When we can not drive, it's a better wedding day. Because driving creates variables, or portrait day even. It creates variables of parking, of traffic, things we can't control. Walking is your friend. We had some great reflections on the road from the rain and the overcast sky. Yeah, it wasn't too wet, it wasn't too dry. Typically, I'd want to move my couples around a bit more, have them sit down somewhere, do a couple sitting shots, kind of create variations of elevation of their bodies. But again, it was just too wet. Oh, another reason we went to the hotel, which maybe you saw already, Balnora wanted to change her shoes into some sweet stilettos, high heels. I don't know. I'm not a shoe guy, but she had a great shoes she wanted to change into, and so yeah, we took the time. These shoots typically last about an hour and a half. I'll stick around where we create some images of the proposal itself, wherever that may be in town, down in the water or down on the bridge, and then we'll do about an hour to 45-minute portrait session of the two of them, just kind of like, create the experience, because it's not just about the proposal, it's about the time you spend together as a couple, and you should have nice images of that too. Plus, it kind of counts as an engagement session, so if they have a photographer booked for their wedding, maybe they don't need to do an engagement session with that photographer, although it's good to do it regardless, just to understand someone's style, their approach to portraits. This is also a great sales tunnel funnel to have couples book with me for their wedding. So this is a great experience for them to kind of understand, do they want to work with me? Do they like my style? Do they like my approach to portraits? Yeah, it's a great sales funnel for couples who want to hire me for their wedding day. They get a first-hand experience of what it's like to work with me, photographing them in a portrait style. They understand that, I like to move quickly, get as much as we can done in an hour, and we can get a lot done in an hour. So yeah, I booked a few couples for their wedding days based on shoots we've done just like this. Also on the left there, you can see there's a fromagerie with a yellow door. I'm very excited to incorporate that into shoots because it's such a pop of color that you don't see anywhere here. I like pops of color. But they're a cheese shop, and I'm excited for them to open. I love cheese. What can I say? Also, Uptown Waterloo is getting a bagel shop like real close to us. Maybe less than a block. And I'm very excited about that. And I think they're owned, or a major investor is Pearl, the company who owns this hotel and other hotels in the area. Oh, yeah, this is across the bridge in one of the ceremony spaces. There's a wedding happening because this was a Saturday in April. But they were using the indoor foundry space instead of the outdoor space. This is typically the aisle where people walk down. You'll see the altar at the front there. But it's a great spot for getting portraits because you get the nice separation across the river of the hotel itself. It's dry because you have this walkway, this boarded walkway, which is great. Yeah, just a great experience. Great spot. Great photo spots in Elora. I usually take individual shots of my couples, just to help them update their LinkedIn or their Instagram, or just headshots in general. Pavel here is a real estate agent and works in construction, and he was asking if we can get some photos of just his face, and of course, that's something I'll absolutely do. There's a great technique I use here called the Brennizer technique. I'll post it below, but it's something Sam Hurd taught me in one of his workshops, where you take 3 vertical images of a face, you divide it in 3. So you get a middle shot of just their head here, and then you get the frame to the left and the frame to the right, and then you combine those in a panoramic photo combination in Lightroom. There's a panoramic, and you get a really unique image of their face, and it looks like a lens that doesn't. It looks like a wide or a large format image from a large format camera, because you get this crazy 1.2 fall off, and you get this massive frame that's very irregular, which I like for portraits. It's something he taught me, and I've done for almost every shoot I've done. And yeah, I like it a lot. It's a really unique way to take a photo of someone. It's fun for me. I like experimenting. Whenever I can, I'll use couples as foreground too. This is where we get a bit more experimental. Sometimes I love these photos, sometimes I don't. I did enjoy these a lot, so I delivered them. Yeah, just giving some bit more direction here. Putting their faces where I want them to be. Yeah, they look great. Don't they look great? Great outfit coordination. Well done, Pavel. And Balnor. I shouldn't give him all the credit, but I feel like he planned this whole thing. She knew. Come on. Unless you really catch them out by surprise. She knew, obviously. She had her hair done. She had her makeup done. They look great. The one downside of Elora is the fact that they're building these condos back there. They're live-in suites. And right now with that giant crane, it really gets in the way of a lot of photos, especially when we're doing wedding day party portraits up on top of the balcony of the Elora mill. It's really just in the background, and it's hideous, and it's something I have to Photoshop out. So it's something I try to avoid whenever I can. I don't like Photoshopping elements out. It just creates a busier workflow for myself. It doesn't look authentic to the couple. I'll do it to create an image I think is worthy of printing and having, but I really, when I can avoid it, I can, and I do. I did do a bit of Photoshopping for this because the evergreens at the end of this laneway here are not as grown in as I want, and there's a lot of parking behind there, so I got rid of a lot of the open spaces where you could see some red construction elements as well as cars, just to fill out the bushes. That kind of thing is no problem. I'm happy to do stuff like that. But I'm removing entire buildings or crowds of people. It's exhausting. And they were lovely. Weren't they lovely? Didn't you have a good time? I had a great time with this. Thank you so much for watching, for liking and commenting and subscribing to all the things on YouTube here. I like putting out content as often as I possibly can, whether it's behind the scenes stuffs, camera reviews, stuff I really like using to help my business be better and help deliver better images for my clients. Do you want to see Jose? Let's see Jose. Jose. This is Jose. He's my dog. Do you have any thoughts, Jose, about getting engagement photos in Elora Mill? One day he'll talk. Until that day, have a great week, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one.